Hello, and today we're doing an FPL preview for game week 23. The deadline is very, very close, and we're going to go through my transfers that I've made this week, my team selection, my captaincy, all that juicy stuff, and smash a like on the video for more FPL content in the coming months and weeks. And let's get straight into the video. So, it was a decent week last week for me. 72, not too shabby, but we really want to be doing really well this week. We want to be getting back into those 80s and 90s to really boost up the rankings. And this is our team. So, to start off with, in between the sticks today, we've got the absolute legend that is Robert Sanchez. He's in banging form. He's been on my bench a few weeks, which is a bit of a shame, but he's still doing the bits, and he's got a lovely fixture against Burnley. So, Burnley have scored the least goals of anyone in the league, and surely it's a good chance for a clean sheet there. So, yeah, Brighton have done really well, 4 clean sheets on the bounce against the likes of Liverpool, Spurs. So surely they'll be able to do it against Burnley. But we know what the Premier League is like. It can swing another way. And now that everyone's, hopping on the Sanchez bandwagon, he'll probably not concede. He'll probably not keep a clean sheet this week, but I'm hoping he will. And that fixture is very, very nice. And then the back three we're going for this week. First of all, we've got Ruben Diaz. Now, it's a big talking point this week about whether we start our Man City assets, whether we focus more on attackers in the upcoming weeks, because their fixtures have officially turned. They've got Liverpool, which you would say is not a terrible fixture because Liverpool are in terrible form, but it's still Liverpool. Then they've got Spurs, Everton, Arsenal, Man United, and they don't have a good green fixture until game week 28. So, not ideal, but Manchester City have been the most consistent team. They have been top of the pile, and at the end of the day, they could still do well against these good teams. But it's a question of, do you really want to play many defenders against Liverpool? Not necessarily. Now, if you've got Joao Cancelo, I'd say definitely start him because he's got attacking potential, and that could easily outscore the loss of the clean sheet, presuming it is that case. But with my team, as many teams do this season, I've got the Man City defensive double up. Now, I think just because of how much of a threat he is in the box, from headers and set pieces, I think Ruben Diaz has to be in my team this week. So he's my first defender, but my other Man City defender is on the bench, which we'll come to. But I feel like we have to have at least one of them, and on the odd chance that Man City do keep a clean sheet, at least I can have somebody in there to get the points for it. Ruben Diaz, such a legend in the team of the week this season, or the team of the season this week, but generally he's been in it for a long time and just gets so many clean sheets. He got a lovely little assist against Palace not too many weeks ago, and he picks up bonus points. He gets blocks in. He looks like a really solid defender, and he's really adapted well to life since coming from Benfica. So, yeah, he's really good for me, and it's not the most ideal fixture, of course, but he could hopefully get a shock clean sheet or an attacking return. Then we've got Stuart Dallas, my man, Stuart Dallas. Now, yeah, admittedly, it was a real blow to not have him get those goals for my team when he scored against Leicester. He was on my bench. It was Leicester, but then he went and not scored against Everton when I had faith in him. But I'm putting faith in him again because he's facing a leaky Crystal Palace team and also a Crystal Palace team that haven't got Wilfried Zaha, and that could really boost the chances of a Dallas clean sheet. Leeds don't get many of them, but I think they'll go into that Monday night game with a little bit of hope after that very good win against Leicester. And against Everton, it was a shame, but they're still a good side, and I still think that Stuart Dallas is a great FPL asset to have. So he's got a nice fixture there for hopefully some points. And then my third defender is Aaron Cresswell, one of the defenders of the season. He's in the dream team as well, and he's so attacking. It's just brilliant. And he's got a nice fixture against Fulham. Fulham have improved in recent weeks, but they're still a team that can concede goals. And Cresswell, for that West Ham team, he's been getting a lot of clean sheets and mainly a lot of assists. And if the likes of Antonio pop up in the box, it's likely that Cresswell does drive in that ball often. So I really fancy him for some big points against Fulham. And let's hope he can deliver the goods once again. We move on to our midfield now, and this is where we have one change in our midfield. So let's go in reverse order for the way I can see it now, so we can build the suspense for the transfer that I've made in my midfield. So first of all, we've got Ilkay Gundogan. Now, some people will be benching him this week, and that's fair enough if you think that this game's going to be tight. And you could argue you just basically have Liverpool and Man City assets both in this game, so therefore you're kind of setting yourself a fair and a likely foundation that if one works, the other doesn't. You'll at least get one of them. But then other people will be going, well, whoever they think is going to win this game, you play those assets. And some people don't have a Liverpool assets because of their poor form, and that's fair enough. But Gundogan is actually a very good player. He's getting points, and the only game he's blanked was against Sheffield United. So he's been so consistent over the last couple of months. And I think he could actually score against this really in doubt and in a bit of a crisis Liverpool. And I think Gundogan is just a very good player to own. So yeah, he's going to stay in my team actually this week. And I'm going to go with Gundogan and Diaz as my Man City players, just because I think Gundogan offers that potential going forward. And he's on penalties as well, don't forget. So with Kevin De Bruyne out, I think Gundogan does fill that spot really nicely. And then we move on to our next midfielder, who is going to be our vice captain this week. It's Bruno Fernandes. What an absolute player, cracking player. And it was a shame I couldn't captain him, of course, against Southampton. But, it is what it is. We live and learn. And Bruno, 17-point haul. Incredible stuff. And he got a very good haul in the reverse fixture against Everton with a goal and I think also 2 assists, if I'm right in thinking, or maybe 2 goals and an assist, because I think the second one went in off the post, but he claimed it after a very minimal effort for a touch from Rashford. But Fernandes is a big game player, and he does prefer away games, so it's a home game this week. But Everton have still been a pretty good team to watch, but you fancy them to concede a few against this Man United team that's in form. And after a win like that, 9-0, they're going to have so much confidence. So I think Bruno is a very good player to own this week. I've gone with the vice captaincy. And then next we've got Mo Salah. Now, Mo Salah is a bit of a conundrum for a lot of FPL managers right now. He is the god of FPL over the last few seasons, but this season is like on any other, unlike it, and you just can't bet your dollar on him getting good points. There used to be seasons where you could captain him every week and you'd get an amazing rank. It seems like those days are a little bit over because Liverpool are just not consistent as they were last season, and it was always going to be tough to live up to those amazing expectations and standards. But they are struggling for goals. They looked really poor against Brighton, and Salah had a couple of opportunities he should have done better, but pretty quiet in the game. And he faces the best defence in the league, Manchester City, so it's not the best fixture. But there's always this doubt with Salah, that there's always this thing in your mind, in the back of your mind, that he could go and score a brace on any given day, like he did against West Ham, and like he did against Manchester United in the FA Cup. So don't rule Salah out. That's what I'm going to say. People that transfer him out, fair play. There's a lot of money stored up in him, and you might want to use it elsewhere. 12.7 million is a lot, but it's Mo Salah. So we'll see what happens. But let's hope for another goal to prove the doubters wrong, basically. It's another tough game at home against Man City, but let's see what happens. Come on, Mo. I need something special from you. And Jack Grealish is our next one. What a cracking player he's been. Very consistent returns in the last few weeks. I brought him in for that game against Burnley. Got a lovely goal. And then the Southampton game, an assist. And another assist against West Ham. So he's just really ticking along nicely. And he faces an Arsenal team that are really struggling for confidence. After that bruising game against Wolves, Runnison will be in goal. So that's a great prospect for Jack Grealish, and Villa are looking to do the double over Arsenal, so they've got that incentive. It's the first game of the weekend. They'll really want to come out fast in the traps, and I think Grealish is just such an influential part of that Villa team that he can get involved in goals, get involved in assists, and often get good points. So yeah, he's also in the team of the season, and as I said, facing a little bit of a injured and worried Arsenal team that haven't got David Luiz, haven't got Bernd Leno, and yeah, I don't know, I feel like this might be a good opportunity for Villa to really take advantage and smell blood and really embarrass the Gunners. But we'll see what happens. And then we come to our first transfer of the week, and it is James Rodriguez. That's right, that's who I've brought in, and it's to replace the injured Wilfried Zaha. The reason behind that, well, obviously, number one, Zaha. It was a transfer that I made last week with the consideration of forward thinking. I didn't want 3 West Ham assets. Should have never really sold Souček because he's just such a legend, consistent, but unfortunate that I had to suffer that. It really was painful. And then painful as well to see my replacement for him, Zaha, go off on like 57 minutes with a hamstring injury. That's just the luck of FPL sometimes. It really does really hurt. But, you know, it is what it is. I did it because those fixtures for Palace were looking really, really nice over the next few weeks. But one thing to consider is now we've heard the news of the double game weeks in game week 24 and 25, and possible really big double game weeks in 26. So with all that in mind, I brought in a guy that would replace Wilfried Zaha, who has been confirmed as out for the game against Leeds. Could be even longer with a hamstring. So James Rodriguez comes in. Now, it's not the most ideal fixture against Manchester United, but Everton have got points against some good sides this season. The likes of, you know, Liverpool. They got a point against Manchester United in the reverse fixture. They've beaten Arsenal. So I think Everton won't actually get battered in this game. It could be a really tight one. And James Rodriguez, we know how creative he is. And I think that the form Calvert-Lewin's been in has been probably helped by Rodriguez. But also Lucas Digne on the other side will help out James Rodriguez. And we'll come to Calvert-Lewin in a second. But I just think Rodriguez is going to be a very good player to own with that double game week in mind. He has got a game against Man City, but anything can happen in this season's Premier League, and I just think Rodriguez is a really nice option to you know, complete my midfield. So yeah, it's a very nice midfield. Now we move on to our forward line, and this includes another one of our transfers. So we've taken a -4 hit this week. I know it's not ideal because I don't like hits all the time, but when they work, they are absolutely class, and this really could work for me. So first of all, we're transferred in as a striker. So Brewster is gone. He can get out of my team. Like, it was just a temporary thing. And I got Brewster in to fund the move to get Kane in. And then Kane basically did what Zaha did, which was as soon as I transfer him in, he goes and gets injured. So that was just one to forget. But I transferred out Brewster and I had a bit of money in the bank. So who have I got? Patrick Bamford. What an absolute legend. Now he's got, as I said, with Dallas, a very nice fixture against Crystal Palace. And Bamford is just, he just gets so many chances. And you know that he's going to be involved in the thick of the action. And I think that's a very nice fixture for the Leeds to really go at on Monday Night Football. He scored in the reverse fixture twice. It was one of them called off, but he looks such a threat right now for that Leeds team. And it just really called for it because I wanted to get Brewster out of the team. So he is my first striker. Who is my second striker in the 3-5-2 formation that I'm playing this week? Well, the second striker is Michail Antonio. And you've probably worked it out by now that he's the only player left. So therefore, he is my captain. Yes. Drink it in. Drink it in. Feel about that. And think about that for 1 second. It's a differential captain, but we're going for it this week. We're pushing the boat out because last week we really wanted to do better, and we've dropped in a few of our leagues, so we need to climb back up and pull ourselves back in contention. And I think this is not even that much of a differential. I've seen some people talking about doing it, and it's Fulham. It's Fulham away, which is a lovely fixture. West Ham are in amazing form. They look like they're going to push for Europe this season. And Michail Antonio is just consistent. 2 assists against Aston Villa. Could easily have scored himself. And I just think a big haul is on the horizon. So it's a bit bold, of course, to not captain someone like Bruno Fernandes. But in a week that, you know, Liverpool playing Man City, Villa playing Arsenal, I just think this captaincy could really pay off. So I've gone for it against Fulham. And as I said, with the Dallas game, Palace are leaky, but also Fulham are. Fulham have improved recently, but they are still a team to target defensively. And I think West Ham could win that by 2-3-0. So that could spell points for Antonio. Now that's my starting 11. on the bench, we've got Edouard Mendy. Now, to be fair, Mendy's not done much to suggest that I bench him, but I just think the form of Sanchez has been absolutely impeccable. So he's got to play this week. Impeccable, not implicable. But Mendy's also been getting me clean sheets. So that's really encouraging. When Sanchez drops out with injury, Mendy can always come in and get me those good clean sheet points. He is playing Sheffield United this week, which is a nice fixture, but I think Burnley's even better. Because as I mentioned, Burnley don't score a lot of goals. And Sheffield United recently have got 3 wins in their last 5. They're starting to pick back up momentum. And Chelsea are a team you can't predict sometimes. They've lost against some bad teams this season. And also lost this fixture 3-0 last season. So I'm not saying it will happen. Chelsea will probably win. And Chelsea will probably keep a clean sheet. But I just think there's more potential for some bonus points for the likes of Sanchez in this week. Because Burnley are going to go for it. They're at home. And they always usually go for it with effort. If it's not quality, they'll go for it with effort. And therefore shots. And therefore save points and all that lovely stuff. Whereas Sheffield United, if they are going to pull off a shock, then it would be ideal to bench Mendy. And even if they did score and they did have some shots, then I just don't feel that they have enough quality going forward to make those chances. And Ryan Brewster's really struggled. That's why he's out of my team. But Mendy is going to be on my bench this week. It's a close one, but I'm going with Sanchez. Now, my first sub this week is going to be Calvert-Lewin. Now, say what you will about that, but it's Manchester United this week, so it just makes sense to bench him. It's not a great fixture. Calvert-Lewin, nice goals against Leeds, but at the end of the day, that was a nice fixture. This is not so much, and I can see him blanking this week. And if, for some odd reason, Antonio didn't play, we've got Bruno Fernandes as vice-captaincy. We've got Rodriguez, if he doesn't play, because he was benched against Leeds. Calvert-Lewin can easily come in, and he's a great player to come in. But it makes sense this week to bench him because of that fixture. Yeah, it's nice because we've got Everton coverage. If they do well and I miss out on Calvert-Lewin points, well, we've got Rodriguez, so it's fine. And my second sub is John Stones, absolute legend of this team. But this week, it's another tough fixture. And I think one City defender at most, if you're having either Cancelo or Diaz, is enough this week. Obviously, City could easily get a clean sheet against Liverpool, but I don't think it's likely, and therefore the double up defensively to start this week doesn't seem right. And John Stones probably a slightly lower point ceiling than maybe Ruben Diaz, but he's going to be second on my bench if need be. And third on my bench is Max Kilman. Got a game against Leicester this week, which is pretty tough, and yeah, he's not been doing too well with the clean sheets recently anyway, so he's third on my bench. And that wraps up my FPL preview for Game Week 23. It's locked in for those 2 transfers. Rodriguez in for Wilfred Zaha and Bamford in for Brewster. I think those are some pretty good upgrades. And my captaincy sticks with Antonio. Let's hope it really pays off. My current rank this season, 247,492, 1,340 overall points. And I really need a green arrow this week. It's got to be said. Off the back of 2 red arrows in a row. Before that, we were doing really well. We had like 5 green arrows in a row. So, yeah, our momentum's has gone a little bit. And we need to get that back this week. But with that -4, I think we should have a good week. I think, you know, those changes look positive. And I'm hoping to really do the bits this week. But that is my team. Thanks for watching this FPL preview. And I shall see you in the next one. Bye-bye.